In the summer of 2009, a quiet English field near the village of Hammerwich suddenly rewrote history. Beneath its soil lay the largest collection of Anglo-Saxon gold and silver ever discovered, a treasure that would come to be known as the Staffordshire Hoard. Nearly 5,000 fragments of metalwork were recovered, more than 3,500 of them crafted from pure gold and adorned with garnet inlay. Their total weight was extraordinary, over 5 kilograms of gold and nearly 2 kilograms of silver. When experts placed a value on the find, it reached more than £3 million. Yet the true worth of this discovery cannot be measured in money, but in the light it sheds on the forgotten world of early medieval England. The story began with an ordinary man named Terry Herbert. On a calm July morning, he walked across farmland with a metal detector, scanning the surface as he had done countless times before. But that day, the device emitted a tone unlike any other. As he dug into the dry soil, small pieces of gold emerged, curved fragments, delicate designs, strange patterns of ancient craftsmanship. At first, he thought he had found a few old ornaments. In truth, he had uncovered the legacy of a kingdom. Archaeologists were called, and soon the field became a hive of quiet activity. They worked slowly, layer by layer, as if peeling back the centuries. What they found was not a single chest or a buried tomb, but a scattered deposit of fragments, all deliberately broken and hidden. Each piece seemed to tell a story of battle and belief. The designs were unmistakably Anglo-Saxon, a people who lived, fought, and ruled England long before the coming of the Normans. The hoard lay within what had once been the powerful kingdom of Mercia, and the gold they held in their hands had once belonged to kings and warriors who ruled this land more than 1,300 years earlier. Unlike most treasure finds, the Staffordshire Hoard contained almost nothing domestic. There were no coins, no women's jewelry, no plates or cups from household life. Instead, nearly every piece came from the battlefield. Sword hilts, scabbard fittings, helmet fragments, and the richly decorated mounts of warriors' gear. Over 300 sword hilts and more than 90 pommel caps were identified. Some were covered in filigree, others in deep red garnets that still glowed after a millennium underground. Together they hinted at a vast collection of royal arms, perhaps the spoils of war, or trophies taken from defeated enemies. Whatever their origin, these were the symbols of the highest rank, and they had been buried on purpose. The artistry of the pieces is breathtaking even today. The goldsmiths of that age possessed skills that modern craftsmen still struggle to replicate. They used techniques of cloisonné to inlay tiny polished garnets into geometric shapes and employed chemical treatments to enrich the surface of the gold so that it shimmered brighter than its core. Every line, every curve, every join reveals a world of mastery. The fragments show intertwined beasts, coiling dragons, crosses, and words of scripture worked in microscopic detail. They are not crude war spoils. They are the refined works of men who believed beauty and power belonged together. One of the most haunting objects from the hoard is a narrow strip of gold inscribed with words from the Bible. "Rise up, O Lord, and may your enemies be scattered, and those who hate you flee before your face." The strip was bent and folded, as if in haste, before it was buried. That single line captures the spirit of its time, a warrior's prayer whispered on the edge of a sword, faith entwined with battle. Historians date the hoard to around the mid-7th century. Between AD 650 and 675, a period of great turmoil in Anglo-Saxon England. The pagan gods of the old tribes were giving way to the Christian cross. Mercia's great pagan king Penda had fallen, and new rulers sought power through faith as much as through steel. The hoard seems to belong to that moment of transformation, when old and new beliefs coexisted uneasily. Among the fragments are Christian crosses, yet also ornaments shaped like serpents and beasts from pagan mythology. It is as if the treasure itself stands at the crossroads of two worlds. Why was it buried? No one can say for certain. Some believe it was war booty, the collected trophies of a victorious army, buried until it could be safely divided. Others think it was an offering to the divine, a ritual deposit meant to secure victory or forgiveness. Still others suggest it was hidden by a defeated king, a desperate attempt to preserve his fortune in a time of chaos. Whatever the reason, it was placed in the earth with deliberate care, not thrown away, but entrusted to time. When the hoard was lifted from the soil more than 1,000 years later, it came out in pieces so delicate that archaeologists removed entire blocks of earth to protect them. In laboratories, conservators cleaned and documented every item under microscopes. As layers of dirt were removed, the brilliance of the gold returned not just its color, but the presence of the people who made it. The workmanship revealed trade connections reaching across Europe and beyond. Garnets from India or Sri Lanka, glass from the Mediterranean, metals from the far north. The Staffordshire Hoard proved that even in what we once called the Dark Ages, light and artistry thrived. The discovery changed how historians view Anglo-Saxon England. It was once thought of as primitive, isolated, and war-torn. But the Staffordshire Hoard revealed a society of immense sophistication, a culture where warriors carried not only swords but also symbols of faith, where craftsmanship and religion blended into the art of battle. It showed that early England was not cut off from the world, but connected through trade, faith, and ambition. Today, the Staffordshire Hoard is divided between the Birmingham Museum and the Potteries Museum in Stoke-on-Trent. Behind glass cases, under controlled light, hundreds of pieces shine once more. The fragments of helmets and sword hilts gleam softly, their garnets catching reflections like drops of blood turned to jewels. Visitors stand in silence, imagining the lives that once touched this gold, the kings who ordered it made, the warriors who wore it, and the hands that hid it away forever. To look at these artifacts is to peer through a window into the soul of a lost world. Every mark of the engraver's tool, every curve of a dragon's head, every tiny Latin letter carved into the gold speaks of power, devotion, and fear. It is as though the hoard preserves not only objects, but emotions, pride, reverence, and the weight of mortality. The Staffordshire Hoard reminds us that history is not only written in books. Sometimes it lies waiting beneath the ground, silent until chance uncovers it. When the sunlight first touched those fragments in 2009, more than 13 centuries of darkness ended in an instant. The gold of Mercia shone again, and with it returned the memory of a world where courage and faith were the currencies of power. This treasure is not merely a collection of precious metals. It is the voice of the past speaking to us through craftsmanship, through devotion, and through the silence of centuries. It tells us that even in ages of war and uncertainty, humans still sought beauty, meaning, and the favor of the divine. The Staffordshire Hoard belongs not just to England, but to all of us, a testament to what people create, what they fight for, and what they choose to leave behind. When you stand before its display, remember that everything you see was once buried in fear or hope. Someone's hands placed it beneath the earth, trusting time to guard it, and time did. More than 1,000 years later, that same earth gave it back, allowing us to listen once again to the golden whisper of Mercia's lost warriors.